Microsoft Word for Windows Intermediate. This video is designed to be watched away from the computer, so just sit back and watch the video. Later, at the computer, you may use the included mouse and keystroke sheet. First, we'll talk about formatting text, how to put margins and tabs into a document, how to control line spacing, and how to reveal codes, how to align text on the page, and how to indent, how to view a page in different ways. In document processing, we'll cover checking spelling, saving to the disk, and printing, how to close a document, and how to open one, how to exit the program, how to move a block of text using the cut, copy, and paste commands, how to undo actions, how to work with more than one document at a time, how to get help on the screen, how to use the search feature, and how to use the built-in thesaurus, how to add page numbers, headers, line numbers, and list numbers. The desktop publishing section includes changing the size and style of text, changing to column formats, adding a border around text, and inserting graphics. In the macros section, you'll see how to use macros to perform a series of steps using just a few keys. And finally, in merging, we'll talk about creating a data file and merging it into a document. First, in the formatting section, we'll cover different ways of affecting the appearance of text in a document. We'll start by showing how to change the margins. We'll be using the mouse to do many of the operations on the screen. In this case, we're using the mouse to set the margins. Click on the Format menu with the left mouse button. Moving down, click on Page Setup. The Page Setup dialog box opens on the screen. In this dialog box, we can choose the size of our margins. The top, bottom, left, and right margins. Also the gutter. The sample on the right shows a representation of the page. As we change a margin size, for instance this left margin, we can see the result in the sample. Changing the right margin, we're increasing it like we did the left one, and we can see the result in the sample. When we're satisfied with how it looks, we click OK. We can see the result now on the screen. The margins have been increased. Now it's set at 2 inches on the left, and moving across the page to the right, it was set at about 1.9 inches. So the margin marker is at 6.5 or a little bit more. The printout looks something like this. Next, we'll show how to use tabs and how to set tabs in a document. We set tabs using the tab buttons here in this area called the ribbon. We also use the ruler for tabs. Default tabs are set in the ruler already, every ½ inch. The titles in this table are aligned on the default tabs. However, the other items are aligned on tabs that we've set ourselves. These buttons here are 4 different kinds of tabs. the Left Align tab, Center Align, Right Align, and Decimal Align tab. Examples of this can be seen in this table. The items in this column are aligned on the left. This one aligned these items on the center. These items are aligned on the right. And these here are aligned on the decimal point. We place these tabs using the mouse. We click on the one we want, clicking once with the left mouse button. And then by clicking in the ruler. Every time we click, we place that kind of tab in the ruler. Here we've placed 2 of the Left Align tabs. To remove them, we click on them and drag them down and release the mouse button. Clicking, hold the mouse button down, and then release. We use the Tab key to position the cursor at the tabs. Type in some numbers, hit the Tab key, and it moves to the next column. This one is centered. We move to the next one, type the number, Tab again. Now it's aligned with the decimal point. Type in the first part of the number, the decimal, and then the other numbers. Next, we'll show how to change the line spacing in our document. We use the mouse to position the cursor in the text. This vertical line is the mouse indicator, and we click this using the left mouse button to position the cursor. Then we can type beginning at that point, and the text will be inserted there. We're going to show how to do line spacing. We just need to click anywhere in this paragraph to affect the line spacing in the paragraph. Up to the Format menu, we'll click once with the left mouse button, and then click on Paragraph. In the Paragraph dialog box, we can go to this little area under Line Spacing. Click this arrow, opens up a little menu of choices for line spacing. Let's choose 1.5 lines. Click on it. The sample here shows a representation of the change in our document. Then click OK. The change is actually made in the document. This paragraph has had the line spacing increased. This one is still the same as it was. Microsoft Word makes these changes in formatting in whichever paragraph the cursor is positioned. Just as with any other word processor, when you type in text, the text automatically wraps to the next line without having to hit return as you would on a typewriter. The only time you need to hit return is at the end of a paragraph. Word knows that everything between 2 returns is a paragraph. In this printout, we've discovered some extra spaces, some poor alignment, and other problems. We can use a feature called Reveal Codes to help us find the reasons for these problems. Going to the actual document on the computer, here we see where these mistakes have been made. We can use Reveal Codes to see exactly what has happened. In the ribbon, press this little button that has the paragraph symbol on it. Click it once, the left mouse button turns on this feature. Now the program has placed little symbols in the text to show where the codes are. This little arrow indicates a tab. A tab was used here to indent this first line. It's aligned with the default tab in the ruler. Now a tab has also been used here accidentally. This is a mistake. A paragraph symbol here indicates the end of a paragraph, and another paragraph here which is basically just a blank line. In this case, Spaces have been used to indent the text. This is not a good idea because you're never sure exactly how it's going to line up. We should always use tabs or use the indent feature, which we'll cover in a moment. Now we'll see how to automatically align the text. Centering, right aligning, left aligning, or full justification. On the screen, we've placed the cursor in the area where we want to make the first change. We'd like to center the title. Wherever the cursor is, that's where the change will be made. We go to the ribbon, to the alignment buttons. We can select the kind of alignment we'd like to choose. This is currently left aligned. Let's choose center. Now it centers that title automatically. We can see now that the title has been centered between the margins. Next, we'll click in the date and click right align. And it's right aligned. Put the cursor now in the body of the text. We want this to be even on both sides, like a newspaper. So we choose justification. It aligns it evenly on both sides. Next, we'll show how to indent text. Here we have a paragraph that has a quotation. We'd like to have it indented. Moving back to the screen, we position the cursor in the middle of the paragraph that we'd like to indent. In the ruler above, all the way over on the left, we see the indent markers. These indent markers actually have two parts. The top part only affects the first line of the paragraph. The bottom will affect the rest of the paragraph. If we just click carefully on just the top part of this and move it over, we're clicking, holding the mouse button down and dragging it over, it indents the first line. You can click carefully and drag the mouse, then release to move it back. If we click on the bottom, it moves the entire marker. Now, this affects the entire paragraph. On the right side of the paragraph, we use the right indent marker. Click on this, drag it over, release the mouse button to indent it. We can also do hanging indentations. Go back to the left indent marker, click on the top half, and drag it back to the left. This creates a hanging indentation. Next, we'll show how to view a layout of the page before we actually print it. We'd like to be able to see more how this document will appear when it's printed. To do this, we go to the View menu and click on Page Layout. This line here represents the top of the page. We can see the other edges of the page by scrolling on the bottom or on the right sides of the document. Use this button to scroll the window down on the document. As we move toward the bottom of the document, now we'll see the line that represents the bottom of the page. We've opened a new document now to show another way to view the entire page on the screen. Going up to the File menu, we click on File and then click on Print Preview. The Print Preview mode shows us a representation of the entire page. We can look at one or two pages at a time. 2 pages will show us facing pages in the document. Next, we'll show how to center our text vertically on the page. On the screen, once we have the document typed in, click on Format, and then click on Section Layout. In the Section Layout dialog box, we can choose Vertical Alignment, Center, and click OK. To see the actual results, we have to go to the Print Preview mode. Click File and Print Preview. The text now has been centered vertically on the page. In the Document Processing section, we'll cover opening and closing documents, checking spelling, and moving and finding text. We can use the spelling checker to automatically find typographical and spelling errors in the document. Going to the shortcut button that says ABC, we click on this to activate the spell check mode. Spelling checker now has found the first misspelled word. It suggested a new spelling for it. This is the correct spelling, so we'll click Change. It makes the change in the document. The next word has been found. We left the E off the end of this word, some. The suggestion here is not the correct one, but there's a list below that has other suggestions. Let's choose the correct word from the list, click on it, it appears in the Change To box, and then we click Change to make the change in the document. The next thing a speller has found is a proper name. The spelling checker has no idea how to spell this name, but if we recognize that this name is spelled correctly, and if the name appears many times in the document, we can choose Ignore All. It will ignore all the other instances of that name. Next, over on the right side of your screen, we've repeated the word the in the document. It's found this repeated word. We just need to click Delete. And it removes that word and the spaces. Now it's found where we've joined two words together accidentally. It has suggested an alternate word. We know this is wrong. All we really need to do is put a space in between the two. If we just click on the word here, it brings it into the Change To box. And we can just position the cursor between the two words, and then from the keyboard we'll type a space. And then click on Change. Now the change has been made. The spelling check is complete. We click OK. Now we'll see how to save our document on a disk. It's important to remember that as we're working on a document, we've not actually changed anything on the disk until we go and actually save the document to the disk. To save a document, we click File and then click on Save. This is the menu method of doing it. There's a shortcut method also, using the shortcut buttons in the toolbar. This one is Save to Disk. Click on that, and it opens the Save As dialog box. This box always opens when we save our document for the first time, so we can give the document a name. It'll be saved in this directory on this disk drive. And we can type the name into the File Name box, where the flashing cursor is located. We just type it in, and then click OK with the left mouse button. At the top of the document, in the title bar, the name appears. The extension .doc is an extension automatically added by Microsoft Word to identify this as a Microsoft Word document. Any further changes that we make to the document can be saved just by clicking on the Save button. And the save is done immediately. Next, we'll show how to print a document. The print icon, a little shortcut button in the toolbar, is a picture of a printer. Or we can also use the menu method by clicking on File and clicking on Print. In the Print dialog box, we can select the OK button. It's sending to the printer, and in a few seconds we get the result from our laser printer. Once we've typed in the document and printed it, we can close it by clicking on the File menu and clicking on Close. Next, we'll show how to create a new document. Creating a new document is done by clicking on the File menu and clicking on New. In the New dialog box, there's a list of different types of documents. Normal is currently selected. Let's click OK. Microsoft Word has created a new document for us and given it a temporary name. We can type in our document and save it with a name. Next, we'll show how to open an existing document from the disk. Click on File and click on Open. In the Open dialog box, we have a list of all of the documents that are contained in this directory, within this directory, on this disk drive. We could select from other drives and other directories as well. Scrolling through the list, we'll find the one we want, and as a shortcut, we'll just double-click, clicking twice rapidly with the left mouse button to open up the document. Now we can make any changes and resave the document with the Save button. When we open something off the disk, we haven't actually removed it from the disk. We've just brought a copy to the screen. Next, we'll show how to save a document with a new name. We'd like to make some changes in this document and save it with a different title. Back to File and click on Save As. In the Save As dialog box, we have the name of the document. Just backspace and type in the new name and click OK. Next, we'll show how to exit Microsoft Word and return to the Windows screen. To exit from Microsoft Word, click on File and then click on Exit. The program stops running and we go back to the Windows screen. Next, we'll show how to select text in the document and how to make changes in the text. We select text by using the left mouse button to click the cursor right before the word, hold the mouse button down and drag across the word to select it. Then release the mouse button. This selects the entire word. This is one way. There's also a shorter way by positioning the mouse indicator within the word and then double-clicking, clicking twice rapidly, which selects the entire word automatically. Once the word is selected, then we can replace it by just typing from the keyboard. And the new letters that we type replace the selected letters. Next, we'll show how to use the cut, copy, and paste features to move text. To do cut, copy, and paste, we use the shortcut buttons here in the toolbar. This is cut, this is copy, and this is paste. To cut our text, we need to select it first. Click and drag down, holding the mouse button down, and then release it to select the text. Then we go back to the cut button and click it once. Now it has removed this text from the document. But this text still exists in an area of memory called the clipboard. We can paste it now from the clipboard to another location in the document. Let's put it right here. Clicking here with the left mouse button, let's hit the Enter key to move this line down. Now we'll go back to the Paste button and click once to paste that text into the document. We'll hit Enter again on the keyboard to move this line down. Now the text has been removed from where it was and moved up to this new location. The text that we cut now is still on that clipboard. To use the copy command, we select our text again by clicking and dragging with the mouse, then click Copy. The text now is still in the document, but a copy of it has been placed in the clipboard. Let's scroll down using the scroll button on the right hand side of the screen. We'll click the cursor here at the bottom of the document. As an example, we'll just place a copy of this text down at the bottom by pasting. We hit Paste, click it with the mouse, and that information is pasted here at the bottom of the document. Now the text is still on the clipboard, and we could paste it somewhere else if we'd like to also. Next, we'll show how to use the Undo feature to undo something we've done. The Undo button here in the toolbar is a handy feature that allows you to recover from the last operation that you did. It looks like an eraser of a pencil. We click on this to undo something that we've done. Here we've selected some text and deleted it. If we click Undo, the text comes back. It will always recover from the last thing that you did. There's also an Undo feature in the Edit menu. If we click here now, it undoes the undo. And we can click this to go back and forth between the last two states of our document. Next, we'll show how to work with more than one document at a time on the screen. We can open existing documents from the disk without closing the previous one that was on the screen. Here we've opened several documents. Using the Window menu, we can see that we have 6 documents open. This is the document that's currently visible. The other ones are hidden behind it. We can bring them to the front by clicking on them in turn. Number 4 is in the front now, or any one of the other ones can be brought forward in the same way. Now we'll see how to get help on screen instead of having to go to the manual. If we need help in Microsoft Word, all we have to do is go across the menu bar and click on Help. Then click on Help Index. The Word Help Index dialog box opens. Let's choose Alphabetic Listing. Now we have a list of different help topics. Let's choose Aligning Text, and within that we have other subtopics. Let's choose Changing Vertical Alignment. This gives us instructions on how to change the vertical alignment. and we can go back with this back button to the previous pages. Now we'll show how to use the Find feature to find and replace text. We're looking for a particular word, in this case a name. We click on Edit, then click on Find. The Find dialog box opens. We type in here the name or the word that we'd like to find. We can select whether we want to search up or down in the document. Down means anything after the cursor. Up means anything before the cursor. Let's type in the name Johnson. Normally we would just click on Find Next. But notice there's a black border around this button. Most dialog boxes will have one button that has this black border around it. This means you can use the Enter key instead of pressing that button with the mouse. In this case, pressing Enter will be the same as clicking on Find Next. Now the program has found the first occurrence of the name Johnson. We continue to hit the Enter key, we find the rest of the names in the document. When we get to the end of the document, Microsoft Word lets us know with this little dialog box. And we can select No. If we're done, then we can choose Cancel. If we'd like to find and replace text, we go back to the Edit menu and choose Replace. In the Replace dialog box, we still have the name Johnson because we had typed it in before. Now we type in what we'd like to replace it with. This is, in this case, a new spelling for the name. We click on Replace All. It will replace all of the mistakes. Now the word has been found and every occurrence of the name Johnson has been changed to Johnston. Next we'll see how to use the thesaurus to find alternate meanings and synonyms for words. We can improve our writing by using the thesaurus to find alternate meanings for words. Clicking on the word we're interested in and going to the Tools menu, click on Thesaurus. In the dialog box for thesaurus, the word that we selected appears, and different shades of meaning in this box. Within each one of these, there's a list of different synonyms. We want this meaning cautious. We'd like to choose the word mindful. Click on Replace, and now the word careful has been replaced with mindful. Next we'll show how to place page numbers in our document. Go to the Insert menu, click on Insert and click on Page Numbers. In the Page Numbers dialog box, we can choose the position, bottom of page here, and center, and then click OK. To see the results of page numbering, we have to go to Page Layout View. Click on the View menu and click on Page Layout. To the right-hand side, scroll down, and there at the bottom of the page is our page number, centered at the bottom of the page. Next we'll show how to add headers or footers to our document. Click on View and click on Header Footer. In the Header Footer dialog box, click on Header and click OK. A cursor has been placed in the header area of the document. We'll type from the keyboard the information that we'd like to have in the header on each page. As we scroll now through the document, we'll see that the header has been placed on every page. We can scroll all the way through the document to check this. Now, if we decide we'd like to have the header on all pages except the first one, go back to the View menu, click on View, click on Header Footer. In the Header Footer box, there's a little checkbox that says Different First Page. We click there. It turns on that feature. We click OK. Now, the first page is blank. We could type something different into this, or we can just leave it blank. Now let's scroll down through the document. We can see the other pages still contain industry report. Next, we'll see how to automatically add line numbers to our document. Go to the Format menu and choose Section Layout. In the Section Layout dialog box, we click on Line Numbers and click in this checkbox to turn on the line numbering feature. We can start with number 1. Auto selects the distance from the edge of the text. We could choose a distance or have it chosen automatically. And counting by 1 is selected here. Let's use this little arrow to increase this to 5. We can restart the numbering at every new page, every new section, or continue. Clicking OK now, and then clicking OK again to close this box. We can go back to see the result, but we have to go to Print Preview to see it. Click on File and then Print Preview. Now we see a representation of the numbers at the edge of the text. After we print it out, we'll see the line numbers in the document. Next, we'll show how to automatically number a list of items in our document. List numbering is done with the shortcut button in the toolbar that has the little 1, 2, 3 on it. To number a list, we find the list in the document, click and drag the mouse to select the entire list. Then click on the List Number button. Little numbers have been added to our list automatically. We could have done this using the Tools menu as well. Click on Tools and then Bullets and Numbering. The desktop publishing features we'll cover include changing the size and style of text using columns and inserting graphics. The first thing we'll cover is how to change the size and style of text. We can change the style of the text by clicking and dragging to select the text. Then in the ribbon, above the ruler, we see the name Times. This is the current typeface or type style. We click on the arrow to open a menu of different fonts to choose from. Let's go through, let's choose Modern. The typeface is changed now. We can change the size by clicking on this arrow and clicking a different size, and the change is made automatically. We can also choose bold, italic, or underline. Let's try each one of these. Bold makes the letters larger. Italic and underline. Now all three of these features are on. Bold, italic, and underline. This is what it would look like on the screen. And this is how it looks on the printout. Next, we'll show how to change our document to a column format. We can do this using the column shortcut button here in the toolbar. We click on the button and hold it down and drag down and then drag to the right to choose the desired number of columns. You can go up to 6. Let's choose 3. Then release the mouse button now, and we have 3 columns now in our document. Next, we'll show how to place a border around text. First, click and drag to select the text. Then click on Format and click on Border. In the Border Paragraphs dialog box, you can choose No Border or Box or Shadowed Box. And choose the number of lines we'd like for in the border. And click OK. Now we have a double-lined border with a shadow. Now we'll show how to insert graphics into the document. You start off with your letter on the screen. Click on View. Put the mouse arrow on the item and click on it. Then click on Page Layout. We need to go in the page layout format to see the graphics inserted. Now click on the Frame button. Click with the left mouse button. The arrow changes to a cross. We use the cross to lay out the area where the picture will be. This is where we're going to put the picture, right here. First, we place the cross at the corner of the picture area. Then click and hold the left mouse button and drag to the opposite corner of the area. Then release the mouse button. This has drawn the frame for our picture. Now we didn't lose any text here, it just moved automatically to fit in around the picture. Next we click on the Insert menu, and then down at the bottom of the menu we click on Picture. The Picture dialog box opens on the screen, and we choose Clip Art. This is a new directory where the clip art is contained. We double click on this, clicking twice rapidly to open it. Now a list of pictures opens on the left. Let's choose the blue sedan picture. Double click on it again, and that picture is automatically placed in the area we outlined. We can change the size of the picture by clicking on the picture, and that makes this outline appear. Place the arrow in one of the little corner squares and click and drag the mouse. Let go of the mouse button. Now it's smaller. We can make it larger again by clicking on the corner square and dragging the mouse again. Now it's really big. Let's show how to make it smaller again. Click on the corner box and drag it smaller, and then release. Clicking on the bottom or top or the side boxes and dragging will stretch the graphic in that direction. We can also use the Shift key to crop the image. Hold down the Shift key, then click and drag, and then release. This will crop the image. In the next section, we'll talk about macros and how they can help us speed up our work. We'll show how to use macros to record multiple tasks and play them back with just a few keys. We'd like to use a macro to automatically change the formatting of our subheads in this document. Click on the Tools menu and then click on Record Macro. In the Record Macro dialog box, we have a macro name, Macro 1. We can change this to any name we'd like. Let's call it Subhead. We can assign a shortcut key, Control plus Shift plus some other key on the keyboard. Let's choose S. Here at the bottom we could enter a description if we'd like. Click OK, Notice at the bottom of the screen, REC, which means recording. Everything we do now on the screen will be recorded in the macro. Macros will record any mouse actions in the menu bar, the toolbar, or the ribbon. But it won't record mouse actions in the actual document. Anything we do in the document has to be done from the keyboard. We'd like to select this line of text and make some changes in it. A quick way to do that from the keyboard is put the cursor before the text, hold down Shift and hit End. That will automatically select the text to the end of the line. To make the changes, first we'll change the size. Clicking on the size box, let's scroll down. Let's click on 18. That enlarges the text. Let's choose bold and italic. These are the changes we'd like to make in all the subheads. All of these steps have been recorded in this macro. Now we go back to the Tools menu and click Stop Recorder. Now the recording is finished. See, it no longer says REC at the bottom. Now we're ready to actually perform the macro. Put the cursor before the next subhead. Remember that the macro keys, the shortcut keys, were Control, Shift, S. Hold down Control and Shift, hit S, and the macro is performed. Let's go to the next subhead. Click the cursor there, Control, Shift, S. You may have many different kinds of macros. In the final section of our video, we'll cover using data files to create form letters and mailing labels. First, we'll show how to use the merge feature to merge a data file into a form letter. We'll start by clicking File and clicking Print Merge. We're going to create a data file. Click Attach Data File, and in the Attach Data File box, click on Create Data File. To set up our data file, we need to enter the names of each field of data. We're going to create a table of names and addresses. First, field name will be name. Click Add to add it to the data file. The next field name is address. Click Add. Then the city. Click Add. And state. And click Add again. These are all the fields we'll use in this example. Click OK, and in the Save As dialog box, we can give it a name so that it can be saved on the disk. Let's call it Mail List. We type it in here, and then click OK. This saves the data file on the disk. Now, Word has created a little table on the screen for us to use to type in the data. We use the Tab key to move from block to block and Shift Tab to move backward through the blocks. Now we begin to type in the actual data, the name, the address, and so forth. When we've typed in all of our data, we need to save the changes. Just click on the disk icon. It's a shortcut button for saving. Now click on File and click on Close. We're closing that file. Now we want to create a new document, say a letter, some kind of form letter to merge the data into, or we want to open one that's already on the disk. In this case, we already have one that's been created. We click Open, and in the Open dialog box, we scroll through this list to find the letter that we've already created. This is the one we want to open. It's called Merge Letter. Double-click to open it. We've opened now a merge document or form letter on the screen. It has blank spaces in it for the address and for the name. Go back to the File menu and choose Print Merge. In the Print Merge Setup box, click Attach Data File. Now we need to find the data file that we just saved on the disk. Remember, it was called Mail List. Double-click on this. Now we've attached the data file to our document. In the upper right-hand corner we can see Data File, Mail List. Now we're actually ready to choose the locations where the data will be merged into the document. Click the cursor here, hit Enter to move down one line. Click on Insert Merge Field. This is a list of all the fields in the data file. First we'll insert the name. Click on the name. It's been inserted at this point. This is where the name will be placed. Hit Enter to go down one more line. Now insert Merge Field again and double-click on Address. The address is placed at this location. Hit Enter to go down one more line and hit Insert Merge Field again and choose City. After city we need a comma. Let's just type the comma there and then a space and insert another merge field, the last one, State. And you may have zip code and others, of course. Now we need the name again after the salutation. Click Insert Merge Field and double-click on Name again. And the name is inserted and then a comma. Now the document is ready to have the data actually merged into it. In the Print Merge bar, we have a check button. If we press this, it will check the data file, compare it to the main document, and look for errors. This button means Merge to Document. It will be merged together and create new documents on the screen. And this button means Merge to Printer. It will merge the two documents together and send it directly to the printer. Let's merge to the screen. Merge to Document. We click that one and now the data file and the form letter have been merged. The first record of our data file is merged into the first document. And as we scroll down through to the next page, the next document has the next record of data, and the last one has the third record. Next, we'll show how to print single mailing labels or multiple mailing labels using Print Merge. Click on File and click on New. We have to create a new document in order to print labels. In the New dialog box, choose Mail Label. Click it and click OK. A box asks us to choose between dot matrix or laser printer. Let's choose laser. Then we're asked to choose a size of label. These are standard Avery laser labels. Click on 5160 and click OK. Now the program goes through a macro that actually sets up the labels on the screen. Then it asks to choose single label or multiple labels. Let's choose single label first. In the Mailing Labels dialog box, we can type in the information for each line of the label. The first line here that has the cursor already, we just type in the name. To go to the next line, we can click with the mouse, or we could also use the Tab key. Type in the address, and then use the Tab key to go to the next line. Type in the city and the state. Now that we're done, we can choose the label location. This will determine which label will actually be printed on the form. Here we've selected row 1 and column 1. We'll just leave it there for now, but you could select any location on the form. Click Done. Now we see the information in the first label. We'd like to make a few more changes in this, so let's select the text by clicking and dragging the mouse. Let's choose Center, and let's change the size, 14, and hit Enter. Now we can see it's larger and it's centered. We'd like to move it down a little bit. Let's just put the cursor here and hit Enter. That will move it down. To print it, we go to the File menu, click on File, and click on Print. In the Print dialog box, click on Current Page and click OK. And the label will be printed on the laser form. To create multiple labels, we go back to the File menu and click on File, then click New. We have to create a new document again. In this box, we choose Mail Label and click OK. And we get this box again to choose the type of printer. We could choose dot matrix if we want to, but we're going to use laser this time. Click on the size, click OK, and it goes through the macro again to set up the label format on the screen. This time we'll choose multiple labels. In this dialog box, we're asked a question about a header file and a data file. A header file is a file that we can use to merge data from different data files. We didn't create a header file this time, so we'll just click No. In our Attach Data File box, let's scroll through and find the data file. Remember, it was called Mail List. We'll double-click on it to open it quickly. We get the Layout Mailing Labels dialog box. Now we can position the merge fields on the sample mailing label at the bottom. The first thing we need to do is make sure there's a blank line at the top of the label. So the first thing we'll put in is this character, this special character, New Line, and click Add to Label. That will leave a blank line at the top. It puts this small New Line symbol at the top. Then we click on Name and click, and we want it also followed by a new line character, so the printer will automatically skip to the next line after it prints the name. Then we add that to the label. Next we'll select Address and a new line character. Click Add to Label. Then we choose City, followed by comma. We click Add to Label. And we need to follow the comma with a space. we click space and add to label. Now we're ready to add the state. We click on state and add to label. This will be the format of our label. A blank line at the top, name, address, city, comma, space, and state. Click Done, and the computer goes through and fills in the merge fields in all of the labels. When it's done, we get this instruction box. This tells us that the document has been set up and tells us how to edit the data file if we'd like to do that, and also how to merge the labels to the printer. Let's click OK. In the upper right hand corner, we can see the data file is mail list. This is the one we need. It's already attached to the document. Now we're ready to merge the two files together. We can use the same buttons we used before. This one is to the printer, this one to the document, New Documents. This is the check button to check the data, to make sure that it will fit into the document correctly. Now let's click here to merge to New Document. And the data is now being merged into the document. Now we can make any changes to the formatting of the labels by clicking and dragging to select the text across the entire line. Let's make the same change to all the labels. Change the size by clicking in the size box. Let's change it to 14. The size is changed. Clicking anywhere outside the box will deselect it. Back up to the File menu, we can click on File and move down to the bottom of the menu and click on Print. In the Print dialog box, we select Current Page and click OK. Labels will be sent to the laser printer for printing. When the laser printer is finished, we'll see these three labels printed at the top. Of course, if we had a larger data file, we'd have many more labels. Thank you for watching Microsoft Word for Windows.